Abril.
I'm Kristin.
And today we're talking about video games and the impact on children. Video games is a huge industry, and as the industry increases with new video games and other up-to-date technology between companies, there has been a competition to create the new and most popular realistic game.
In a study found in 2008 about the differential effects of playing versus watching violent video games on children's behavior, this study is aimed to test the effects of children's behavior between watching and playing. The study stated that the boys became more aggressive than merely watching the same video game.
As an example of this, we have Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. Have many graphic and acts violence such as
animals being killed, sexual exploitation, drug use, and criminal behavior.
Also, in other studies, there has been found that the United States is one of the leading countries on aggressive behavior on children and adolescents due to violent video games and aggressive TV shows that show a lot of graphic violence, like killing people, use of drugs, and a lot of fighting.
Alright, today I'm here with Daniel Greer. And how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing alright. So I want to ask you a couple questions today about video games and why it causes violence in children today.
It doesn't really. I don't feel like it causes violence unless you have had certain disabilities, or like you can't view the video games in life, like you can't view them as two separate things.
So do you believe that there are rumors spreading about video games because bad rumors spreading about video games because parents don't believe that it's good for their kids?
Yeah, I feel like rumors are more spreading because people wanna just put a finger on something and just say it's not, the violence wasn't just in the person, because back in the day when movies were starting to get popular and people really didn't understand it, people would blame the violence on movies, and also people nowadays just blame the violence on video games because it's becoming more of a mainstream thing, and the popular ones are mostly violence, like Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and other games. Like, most of them have to do with violence that are popular, but it's not because the violent video games have violence.
Alright. So do you believe shooting games, just like you said, Call of Duty, just like Rainbow Six Siege, do you believe those could cause a violence in younger kids? Not I'd say a age bracket around 14 to 12, around there. Do you think that could cause violence in them?
No. The only thing that can really cause violence, to me, at least in my perspective of it, because I've never been that much of a violent person, and even when I was 4, I was playing Call of Duty. The only thing that can really cause video games is if the person can't separate life, real life, from video games.
Alright. So, in all, you believe that violence really doesn't cause, video games doesn't really cause violence in kids?
No, it doesn't.
Alright, thank you. So, thank you for that today. Alright, you have a good day.
My name is Abril. Today I'm talking with my aunt. What's your name? Hi, my name is Alexandra. Hi. And I'm asking some questions about how violent and video games affect children. And one of my questions is, what do you think are signs of aggressive behavior in children?
Some signs of aggressive behavior can be agitation, disorientation, moodiness. Those kinds of signs are, I would say, red flags. There could be something.
It could be something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think video games make children more violent, and if so, why?
That depends. I don't know. I don't think exactly the video games. I think it's the time, the amount of time that children spend playing video games and the type of video games that can cause.
So you think the amount of time affects how
so. The more time they spend on playing an aggressive video game, especially, that can definitely cause some issues. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you think what affects more, watching the video games or playing them?
Either or. It's more having them just being kind of like obsessed. Like if the child is like, all they want to do is either watch or play the video games, that can definitely be an indicator that there's some kind of underlying issue going on with the child, and that's a huge red flag for parents. So watch that something can be happening.
Okay, yeah. And how much time do you think will be like a great time for kids to spend playing the video games?
Amount of time. I would say no more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think parents just need to be, very aware of the time that they spend. And I would just think, of course, depending on the child and depending on their age as well. But I would say no more than 2 hours is a good time.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions.
My name is Santana. Today I'll be interviewing.
Yadina Korea.
Want to tell me a little about yourself?
I'm a junior at Jensen Beach High School.
Today's subject we have about violent video games and kids. Do you think video games increases aggressive behavior in kids?
I think it's all based on how the parents raise the kids, and if the parents let them and know what's in the video games, then they should know what they should be expecting in their kids.
Did you know that there's rumors spreading on video games and parents saying that video games are bad for their kids and whatnot?
I think some video games are bad for kids because young kids start playing video games at a young age. And again, it's all with the parents and how the parents raise the kids and know what's expecting in the game for the kids.
What do you think about video games causing violence in teens or in today's society, young adults?
I think violence is a number one big thing, especially in video games, because some video games are talking about shooting, crazy driving, and killing, and that's mainly what's been happening lately. There's been teen shootings, killings, all based on video games, and how some of those killings were based on playing video games.
You think that?
Yes.
What are signs of aggressive behavior? What do you think causes kids to do stuff like that?
Anger issues, like when they slam the doors, punch walls, when they do things that they shouldn't.
So on the overall, do you think video games are bad in general for kids, or?
I think some kids can take video games and some kids can't, and it mainly depends on how you were raised. If you were raised not to do this and not to do that, then you could do those video games and know what you're expecting. But if you don't, then...
Do you play video games yourself?
Yes.
Do you act aggressively when you playing video games yourself? Because I play video games, I don't think about doing none of the above.
When I play video games, I'll get mad at myself, but I wouldn't punch walls or say I want to kill somebody or do all those crazy stuff, because I know it's just a game and I feel like I was raised right not to do those things.
Because I play video games myself. I don't get mad at the game. I don't act violently. I just get mad towards my teammates because I tell them to do this and then I'm doing it. So I end up getting killed. So I get mad at them, but I don't go out in the world and start being mad at everyone I see.
Or talk about shooting or killing people. I feel like there's a certain time and place to talk about games in real life.
Because I think, in my opinion, I think video games don't cause violence in kids. I think because I say it's the parents, because when you buy a game, you know that when you buy a game, it says rated M for mature. And certain games have this kind of graphics in it and whatnot.
But some kids can lie to their parents, and their parents won't even know what should be expecting.
So, and overall, you think video games doesn't cause violence?
I just think it's up to how they were raised.
Hi, this is Kristin Davis reporting live from IRSC main campus. I'm here with Alexis Zaragoza. who is a mother of 3 and has been an elementary school teacher for 14 years. As you may know, there is a long-standing debate over whether violence depicted in video games can trigger real-world violence. So, some questions I have are, do you think there is any correlation between violence in video games and adolescent or childhood aggression?
I do think there is a correlation between violence in video games and adolescent or childhood aggression. I do see kids on the playground reenacting scenes or battles from Fortnite and other video games that they play. They often talk about the weapons that they use, and it is concerning to think about the young people knowing all these types of weaponry and knowing how to use them at such a young age without knowing how these weapons can really have real impact on people and lasting impacts, which is death. And I don't think they really understand that relationship between that, and it's a concern. Absolutely.
Okay, and what type of violence in video games do you find most concerning?
So, when they show the guts and they show the killing, and just seeing that displayed, I think that it creates imagery in a young person's mind that they don't know how to process. So when you see someone being killed and blood pouring out, that's it has an impact. That imagery creates patterns in the brain, and I think that they don't know how to process it, and I think that it's upsetting and it is somewhat traumatic for them. So I don't think it's a good thing.
Okay, do you think violence in video games is associated with a decrease in empathy among children and adolescents?
I do, because I feel that, again, they don't understand the lasting impact, and it creates an aggressive type of mindset where you're trying to attack someone. It's not building relationships. It's separating us and pitting us against one another. I just think that at the younger age especially, and even in the teenage years when you move up into adolescence, it creates a lot of imagery that's not positive.
All right, and do you have any suggestions to reduce these factors?
Well, I do think that having conversations with kids and having conversations with young people about knowing what it is that they're doing, and just talking about how it could affect them, and speaking about it and monitoring that, their sleep patterns, their healthy relationships with other people, those are all important things. Monitoring the amount of time that they spend on it. So if they do enjoy it, and I know lots of kids do, just making it in digestible bites. So like if you're going to spend a little bit of time in your day and that's something that you enjoy, okay, but not hours on end. Make sure you have a well-rounded opportunity to spend time doing different things and being a part of a team. I know there's a socialization part of it, and a lot of kids like to work on teams and play Fortnite. So there is something to it that is positive for some young people. It is an outlet and it is a way for them to connect online. And as our young people spend more time online, we have to adapt to that and make space for people to enjoy that. But as with anything, moderation is necessary. And we do need to know that this does impact us. We are impacted when we see violence. And it does impact young people even more so because they don't have the depth and understanding to be able to process it and understand it and make sense of it.
All right, well, that's about it. So thank you on behalf of IRC for taking your time and answering those questions.
You bet.
All right.